Before you guys jump into today's video, I just want to say you guys can go check out the Let's Bullshit podcast number 11. For those of you who don't know, I do this podcast called the Bullshit Podcast or Let's Bullshit Podcast with Clova and No One Cares About KD. So it's basically me, Clova King, No One Cares About KD. This week for number 11, we had the Swans 27 and Coots on as our guest. There'll be a top link in the description to go check that out if you want to. We've also had guests in the past, just like Skag and Frito and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And don't forget to check out the podcast if you want to listen to it while you're working or whatever you want to do. But that's it. Now check you guys next time. Peace. Midnight releases. So prior to Black Ops 3, every single Call of Duty game before then, I was at a midnight launch for. AW, Ghost, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 1. Now, as far as, I skipped World at War and stuff like that, because back then, when I was gaming, I didn't know they did this midnight release thing. But I skipped COD 4 for people who were wondering, because I didn't see any promos about it on TV, so I didn't know. And I picked up World at War, because I thought it was the first multiplayer COD, which is wrong. But I did play CODs before World at War. Don't get me wrong. I played the single player ones, COD 2, and COD Finest Hour, I believe was it. COD Big Red one, I think is another one or something like that. And I skipped a little bit on Modern Warfare 2. What I mean by a little bit, the game released and I essentially did not get it till 2 weeks later. So just a little bit right there. Then starting from Black Ops 1 onward, okay, I have been to midnight releases ever since then for Call of Duty. And you know, the general gist I say right here is like, I'm going to the midnight release. And the general gist I get back is, well, you have fun standing out in the cold, sitting there and waiting for your game and shit like that. And that's not the reason you go to a midnight release. The reason you go to a midnight release is to meet new people that game. Boom. There you go. There's a simple reason why. You get to find out what system they're on and etc. and stuff like that. The biggest reason to go to a midnight release is you form, or the players form, this type of tournament. They don't know it, but they do. It's kind of like back in the day when you would step into an arcade and there was that one guy playing Mortal Kombat who just nobody could touch him. Nobody could touch him. Like, he walked up and, you know, he was sitting there playing. He knew all the combos, all the fatality codes, all this, all that, right? And people just kept on stepping up to challenge him. And they couldn't do anything to him. They just couldn't do anything. And he was always at the #1 top score and stuff like that. You just can't beat him, right? The same thing happens here. You go to a midnight release. They let you play the game an hour to 2 ahead of time. Yes, an hour or 2 ahead of time. If you go to a GameStop or midnight release, they bring out the game an hour to 2 ahead of time, and you get to play split screen for the next like 2 or so hours before the game is released. Boom, there you go. So this crowd is a little bit of crowd is gathering around, and you start to do this thing where, like, you know, this one guy, it originally starts with 2 people. The one guy beats the one person walks off. Another person comes up, the guy beats the other person walks off, right? And eventually that dude keeps beating people over and over and over and over, and people are sitting here like, damn, this dude knows this shit, right? And it's just split screen, so all you can do is 1v1 essentially. But it makes for some really interesting, like, cringe moments to where, not cringe, but like, you know, jaw-dropping moments to where if a guy manages to make a comeback that was just like, what the hell, how did he manage to do that? And you're sitting here, one of the best experiences is you're sitting here, you're playing split screen with a guy, and you know, you're talking out like, yeah, you know, I don't really like the fact of this and that, and I don't really like this score streak as much as this score streak. What's your preferred class? You start to talk loadouts and stuff like that, and then you start to talk, well, I like this gun a little bit more because it fires a little bit faster. And you just have this general gamer to gamer, Call of Duty to Call of Duty conversation. This doesn't just happen with Call of Duty. This happens with Halo. I've seen it multiple times with Halo. They'll sit there and play the game split screen and be like, you know, I like this gun a lot more. I like the hammer a lot more than this and stuff like that. There's a bunch of other stuff. I like to use a Ghost as opposed to, you know, whatever, the tank. I'm not, Wraith, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, if I remember correctly, okay? I like to use the Ghost as opposed to a Wraith and a bunch of other stuff like that. In general, just my whole point is going to a midnight release can be a very sociable experience. You meet new people that you didn't know who gamed. You become, you know, known to each other. You maybe trade Xbox Xbox, gamer tags or PlayStation IDs, and you add each other, play the game, and have a great time. It's a good place to meet new people, to kind of do a little bit of a tournament, even though people don't know that they're doing it, they're just trying to play the game. But it's overall a fun time trying to explain, well, I like this in the game, I like that in the game. Then you guys get to try zombies for the first time, you get to see their reaction, they get to see your reaction. It's just overall a great time. However, midnight releases are a lot more dangerous than sitting at home and downloading a game digitally, obviously, and that is one of the biggest things that a lot of parents will not allow their younger people to go to midnight releases, because midnight, obviously, it is like midnight. Basically, it's, pitch black outside. They're afraid there's some things that could happen. Maybe somebody comes up and robs somebody's of a game, or even worse, somebody comes up and stabs somebody for a copy of the game. These are all things that go through, parents' heads as why they will not let their younger people go to midnight launches and etc. and stuff like that. But midnight launches, in my opinion, from my experience, are a very sociable experience. You get to meet new friends, you get to exchange loadouts, there's a whole bunch of things you can do in the game, get their opinion on the game, talk about your opinion to them. There's just a bunch of stuff you can do at midnight releases, and you get to sit there, game, hang out and chill with a bunch of people, talk about different games. I like God of War, hey, I like Halo, this other stuff and that other stuff. Sit there, talk about what type of games you like and stuff, find out, if they're a Call of Duty type player, if they're an RTS type player like Halo Wars or StarCraft or something like that. Do they have PC? Do they game on PC? Have they ever tried it? When was their first console? All this other stuff. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section below, and I'll check you guys next time. Peace.